Selwyn here from WynnStrength.com, wrapping up the 5th week of the Average to Savage 2.0 training program developed by Greg Nuckols over at Stronger by Science. Like usual, I leave links below to check out the program, as well as a Stronger by Science website. Highly recommend checking out both the program, very affordable and very flexible, and the website, awesome resource there that I rely on heavily. So week 5 brings some good progress. I'm really enjoying the program. Everything's kind of tracking along nicely. We've kind of gotten over the first couple of weeks there where we're kind of trying to zone in and triangulate on the weights and the reps to use. And now we're kind of just hitting right on that prescription where we should be, and everything's feeling good. The joints feeling great. Feeling a little bit of soreness from the muscles just because we're doing a lot more volume than I'm used to, which is awesome. So I'm hoping that means that I'm working on some of that GPP conditioning, getting some more cardiovascular type out results rather than when I was training pure powerlifting, where we were doing a lot lower volume but a lot higher weights. The great thing with the program that I've been liking recently is the flexibility of the program, not just in the days and the sessions, but mainly within each session. They give you a lot of room to be flexible and make your own choices about what exercises you want to do after the main movements are kind of through with. And what's helpful for me is that I've been trying to kind of balance between some more hypertrophy bodybuilding style movements and some strongman movements. And the program does allow me to do kind of both of those within the same week. I'm obviously not attacking one super heavy or the other, just because I'm enjoying both of them as it is right now. So not really having a pure target right now, which kind of isn't the most specific program, but I think every now and then you just need to have a little bit of fun in the gym. And something I would recommend doing is, if you do enjoy certain movements, definitely include them. I don't think you should be too hyper specific unless you're some sort of like professional athlete or you really have a big competition up on the line or something along those lines. If you're not deriving money out of this and you're just kind of doing it for fun and the pursuit of getting stronger in general, I think if you enjoy doing something, definitely throw that in there. And kind of, it might not be the most optimal and perfect thing to do, but definitely having that mental game, having that mental enjoyment in the gym is a huge factor in progressing and sticking with it, I think. So I was able to create an Atlas stone, which is kind of cool. I'll be making a video sometime soon with the final results and the process that I did to get there. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that video when it comes out. But we did create about a 215-pound Atlas stone with one of the Slater stone molds. I was pretty excited to use that. So one of the movements this week was to just try and pick that up. I haven't done anything like that before. So we'll show that in the voiceovers and training footage for this week. And again, so that's probably the second strongman piece of equipment I have. I also have some farmer carry handles that I use as well once a week. So again, the huge flexibility of the program is awesome and allows you to really train whatever you want, whenever you want, given some constraints and given some reasoning. And again, you probably have to use your best judgment so you don't go too crazy on the extra work. As long as that extra work isn't interfering with the main core work of the program, I think you're doing just fine. And you kind of figure that out after a week or two. If you're doing too much, you probably want to dial it back the following week just so you can recover a little bit and hit it again hard the week after that. So what I'll do right now is flick over to some training footage and some voiceovers. So we're getting a little bit heavier here with a little bit of fewer reps here. We're just doing 4 reps this week. One thing we notice with weekly undulation is that they're not randomized reps for each week. You should really have a strategy behind why you're doing certain reps. Are you building towards something? Are you trying to peak? Are you trying to get stronger? Do you want to increase those reps or do you want to decrease those reps? And that'll come down to your goals and the training structure. So something to think about. Don't just randomize the reps week to week. The push presses are coming along just fine. Another tip I can provide is to slow down that descent. Obviously you're firing up as fast as you can. You notice on the ascent, not much shoulder action happening. It's really coming from that leg and hip drive. But you can really get some good activation in the core and the shoulders by slowing and controlling that descent. And I found that's been really having a good carryover to my regular overhead press and my push press as well, because generally your shoulders are going to be strong enough to pick that weight up. It's the rest of your body that's going to be that weak link. In my case, the core and the stabilizing muscles around that area were the weak link. So by having that slow down and that increased time under tension with the push, press, descent, even carry this over to the overhead press, you'll be able to exert more force in the future by having that stronger base to push it off of. Moving on to some front squats, because we are dealing with some relatively lighter weights and higher reps, I have been trying to get my wrists used to that Olympic front rack position. What I've noticed is when the weights get super heavy, my torso tends to pitch forward, which puts that weight on the wrist and really causes some aggravation and pain in the wrist joint there. So as the weights stay light and my torso stays more upright, it takes a little bit of weight off that wrist, but it should help acclimatize that wrist in the long run, so I don't have to use that when the weights come over. Here you notice I'm using some wrist straps for the deadlifts. I do like to use these every now and then when the reps get a little higher, just so I don't have to burn that grip up too much. Every now and then, my grip just doesn't feel up to the challenge that day. So again, nothing right or wrong with using wrist straps. Just use them whenever you feel like you need to. Make sure your deadlift isn't suffering because of your grip. And you can always throw in some extra grip training later in on the week, especially if you're doing pull-ups, farmer carries, dedicated grip work. I mean, as long as you factor that into your training structure, I don't think wrist straps are going to detriment your grip training by that much of a degree. Here we have a 220, I think, pound Atlas stone that I just created. So first time ever lifting that up off of the ground. What I'm not showing here is around the 7 minutes of me not being able to pick that up. So this is the one successful rep I got that week, so that was kind of cool. Here we're moving on to some overhead pressing. If you do have access to a heeled squat shoe, I would suggest trying it out. It's helped me a lot because it's helped me get access to a little bit more of a weight in the heels and getting a little bit more layback in order to push that weight up and just feel a little bit more solid than in flat shoes. Carrying over from last week, we are doing the Zercher hold for the reverse lunge. I like the reverse lunge rather than the front lunge, just personal preference. I feel that it doesn't aggravate my knees as much just because that force isn't coming forward. You're not having to stop forward momentum. So there's less forces on the kneecap there, so it just feels better to me personally. If you do have knee issues with the lunge, try this. If not, don't do them anymore. You're not missing out on much. You're better off training for the long run rather than not. And here we have a new personal best for the farmer carries, 25 feet stretch here, 215 pounds a hand. No straps, really wanting to make sure that this is a grip exercise as well as a weighted carry exercise. I've been really enjoying this, especially when I can get some flat ground here. I'm not too sure if I could do the 215 pounds on an incline. So baby steps here, slow progress, working towards that 225. You notice, if you can see in the video, I am using some chains on one of the farmer carries just because I ran out of weights. Not having access to like 25-pound plates is not something I thought I would need, but feeling solid there. The belt definitely helped. We have some high incline bench pressing. I am enjoying the 45-degree incline press. It's because it is kind of that hybrid between a bench press and an overhead press. It doesn't beat up my shoulder joint quite nearly as much as a flat bench press for some reason. And just wrapping up with some sumo deadlifts. I do like using my less knurled, cheaper barbell, the OB83, just because that knurling doesn't grind up my shins. On the regular power barbell, when you do a conventional deadlift, there's a smooth part that slides up and down your shins. When you do the sumo, you're going to have that aggressive knurling sliding up and down your shins. So short of wearing some shin guards, I do quite like the smoother knurling there. So that'll wrap up week 5. I hopefully found it useful, some insights there. Really enjoying the program. Again, can't recommend it enough for such an affordable price. You get a lot of great knowledge, and I think it's a great program that adjusts to your strengths, weaknesses, individual preferences, so many things it goes well for. You can kind of tailor it to your own needs and your own personal goals. So tune in next week for week 6. And this has been Selwyn from Wynn Strength. And remember, a better life through strength.